large mass that was independent of the brush in the area and whatever it was moving. And that was probably the most compelling piece of evidence we got from that particular outing. I was thrilled to death with it. I'm 5 miles north of there where I lay my head down at night. So I'm pretty thrilled to know that that's going on in my backyard.
You know, is it definitive? No. Is it cool? Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool. I'm not going to say, hey, I didn't make that, and it's ridiculous. But I kind of like that picture quite a bit. Large X-rays, again, I don't know that they mean anything. I personally think the big X's like this are territorial markers. And it just so happens in this one area, we have found 3 of these over a space of 1 mile. And you can just always lay a chalk line between them as they go down from east to west. And it happens to be a very clear, definitive line between the area where we took that picture and an area to the south that has a lot of reports of things that are not nearly as nice as what we're used to dealing with. At this other area, there have been a number of horses killed and dogs killed. I personally found 5 raccoons laying out in the woods in a circle, all of them with their heads pointed toward the inside of the circle, and their necks were broken. They weren't shot, they weren't hit with a bow and arrow, they just had broken necks. And it was just weird. I can't say it's related, but it's interesting.
Now, side note, 2 trees can fall beside each other in the forest like that. Seen it a lot. But where this gets interesting is where these 2 sticks are woven in with these sticks here, which in turn are woven in with these sticks here. There appears to be a separate. These trees could have fell by nature. I mean, I don't have a problem with that. What I have a problem accepting it might have been natural is how these other limbs got woven in with that. So,
the thing about this is they made sure that this thing stayed put. No trees are jammed into the ground. The smaller one, the one running from right bottom to left top, is 22 feet long, and part of it is sticking down the ground. That thing is huge. So,
sometimes you can get to looking at a structure like this. Don't just look at the main body of the structure. Look out and about, and sometimes you'll find even something else that's tied into it, or a smaller, separate manipulation that's a part of it.
this is the second one. It's probably 300 yards from that first one. There's a little bitty limb you'll see on the next image. It's probably not as big around as my pinky. It's supporting the middle of this. And that's what they used when they were putting it together to hold it in place. If it had fallen that way, it would have broken. I can't lay claim to this. Brian Conway back there in the corner found this one.
We just took this the other day.
Now this is the older one.
Oh, okay. It looks just like the other one.
It does. It looks quite a bit like it. That points directly toward another structure. And that's an important thing to bring up, like Jerry mentioned earlier this morning. If you find one thing that's interesting by itself, that's really all it is interesting. If you find that interesting thing next to a track or next to a second structure or next to a signpost like that, then it's a lot more compelling.
One thing that kind of interested me about this when I first saw it, you notice all the trees around appear to be deciduous hardwoods. That's off of the conifer. Doesn't appear to be any conifers in the original area, so it seems like there's a strong possibility that that particular limb was brought to the area and added to these trees where it would have been brought down. It would have been a little bit of work to do that, but that's just something to point out. If you look through this area, there doesn't appear to be any other coniferous trees in the area. Everything else appears to be hardwoods, and this is the coniferous stuff. So just
That's a picture of Brian's what, 6 foot, 6'2"?
6'1".
Give you some idea how far off the ground it was.
that's him back there.
He's not a little fella, that's how far off the ground it was. And that's everything that's holding that up on one end. Now, if it had fallen, that little bitty limb right there would not have caught that limb. And as Scotty has pointed out, we could not find the source of that tree. We do not know where that wind came from. It did not come from that standing tree. Now, Scotty missed out on this. This is a South Central region research area. A couple of our independent guys that aren't with us this weekend. But Scotty's been there several times before. And these guys they have a little different approach to what they're doing. They think that they're researching the well-hominid population. They think they're people. And I don't know, they may be right. I haven't seen one there. But I like this picture because it highlights what I just mentioned. You've got this tree listed on, which is interesting by itself. But you can also see the gentleman in the background is making a cast of a track in the immediate proximity of it, and there's also a tallboy trail. It's in that primitive camping area in the Mark Twain National Forest. That's where the trail goes across. Again, this is another one of the more primitive structures, and we'll talk more about tomorrow. But and this is something that's interesting, the rock stacks. I've heard a lot of people talk about those. I hardly ever see those in Missouri. In this one area, they seem to be pretty prolific. We found 7 or 8 in a one-day hike. I don't know about you guys. I don't see that a lot in my area. And we have more than our share of rocks. But I find that very compelling. One of the exciting things about this research opportunity, like I spoke earlier, we bring new ideas into each other research area. These guys were telling us before we went out on the night hop that they had some juveniles that came in and around the camp every night. I'm like, really? What do you do to engage their interest? And they said, well, we hang yo-yos out in the woods. I'm like, well, that's great during the day. But what do you do at night? So I took some glow sticks out, and I hung glow sticks around the camp. I think there were a total of 7 of them that night. 3 of them were purple. And the 3 purple ones were messed with literally all night long. I saw a dark hand wrap around one, yank it out of the tree, and take off into the river. That's pretty compelling stuff. I'm pretty sure Kenny didn't do that. Go ahead. That's just another picture of the same rock structure. More pictures of the cast. I learned something about that too. I'm pretty picky about what I cast. I want to see a nice clear print before I waste any hydrogel on it. Brian came and got me. He said, "Baby, you got to come and look at this track." And I went and looked at it. It was old and degraded and crumbled in. And I'm like, well, yeah, okay, it's probably a track, but you can't really get much out of that. But do you mind if I cast it? I'm like, "Dude, you found it. Throw hydrogel, I don't know what to do." So he made a cast of it. I went back a little later to show him how to take the cast out of the ground because he didn't have any experience with that. And I popped this thing out of the ground and I handed him this, what I think is going to be a chunk of rock. And I turned it over and I got 5 pretty toes and a big chunk of brick. At the bottom of that nasty looking old track. So if you find it and you think it's something, spend a little hydrogel on it. Because you might be surprised what you get.
Don,
Yes.
something real quick. I didn't actually find that track. My wife found that track. Looking out the window as we got lost, following Chris's directions, trying to find the river bottom.
Yeah, that's another important part. Don't ever hesitate to get lost because you don't know much you might find. I'm going to let Scotty talk about Western Bandits really in this area.
Well, I do an expedition in Western Bend up in northern Missouri every year, and we do it as an open expedition. We invite a lot of guests to the things, try to come out, and folks who want to have that experience are always more than welcome to come out with us. Gives us a chance to kind of educate the general public a little bit as to what we're looking for when we're out in the woods. And I don't know, this year we didn't get much done there. I was a week out from a hernia surgery. And we had it was about 100 degrees there Saturday, and it was muggy, and everybody was tired and worn out. Go ahead, Darren, I don't even know if I've got anything on this. But all in general, Western Bend, it's part of the Missouri River Bluff system. For those of you unfamiliar with the Missouri River Bluff system, it runs from just on the north side of Kansas City all the way to Omaha. and there's been literally sightings all up through there for a lot of years. And this nestled right in the middle of some of the best habitat there is in our part of the country. And when I got started working in Missouri River Bluff Systems, we are fortunate enough in Missouri to have enough public ground through those areas that we don't have to have access to private property. And it's staggered enough that we can actually keep an eye on if we've got certain groups or troops that are intermingling, kind of get a general idea maybe where their area is. Been plotting this for about 3 years. I got an idea which direction they're going, but not too sure how many there are or where they're going at yet. But we're, you know, it's an ongoing job. We're getting to the point where we're starting to recognize specific individuals' tracks and some things like that. So I'd intended to really get a lot done this year, but unfortunately my wife and I were in an accident last winter. And I've been incapacitated most of the year, so where are we here? No, let's go back down over here and scroll down here and see where we're at, Don. We did have a couple of really unique experiences back last spring. One of our... It's not there? Oh, okay. I'll go ahead and talk while we're doing this. I'm getting ready to tell you about an incident we had Memorial Day weekend. That's normally the full MABRC get together down here, and me being as sick as I was, my wife wasn't going to let me come all the way down here. I was still in a neck collar instead, doing some other things. And that being tired issue, oh, that's Weston Bend there. Yeah, so, okay, you can talk about these more later if you want, but we talk about trying to bring talented people into our group. Neither one of those parabolic mics are store-bought. We use several parabolic mics in the course of our research, and I think one of them's been purchased. But everything else has been made. My partner right over here, Mr. Don, has devoted a lot of study on the quality of what you can do with various paranormal mics. And like my wife told me one time, you can hear a gnat fart from 1.5 miles away with one of those things. And they've been very, very beneficial to our research. So Darren, if you would go on here. There's a couple, there's Don, and this is Bernie Wall. We consider him our expendable extra. Whenever something looks like it's going to be dangerous or something like that, we send Bernie in. Hi, Bernie. And matter of fact, we had him on the tail end of camp last night, and just kind of had him out there to see if anybody would mess with him. He's really good about that. He'll jump right in and say, okay. So you need that guy. You know, really, you think about it, you need that guy. It's like, hey, could you crawl up in that cave and see if there's a bear in there? Okay. You need that guy. Okay, go ahead, Darren.
That's why we have Bernie.
Okay. Before we get started on this. Like I said, Memorial Day weekend, and my wife actually kicked me out of the house. And I didn't have enough money to go all day to Oklahoma, so I made it part way. And we spent the first time I'd been in the woods in almost 6 months, and I was wore out. So everybody decided they wanted to go do this other spot. And I said, you know guys, I'm not going to go with you this trip. I'm going to take a nap right here in the Jeep. Okay, if we go on here and we can play the video that's next here. Before we play this, I woke up, and Bernie says, Randy would like to talk to you. He has found a track that he'd like you to look at. And when I stepped around to the other side and was looking at this track, everybody standing on the other side of my Jeep started laughing very, very hard. Is the video going to play?
If it won't play, I'll just describe the scene.
Okay, yeah, here we go.
Nope, wrong video.
Yeah, because we had 3 videos, there it is. Okay, this is what they saw on the side of my Jeep. That's the track, sorry. I'll tell you what, looks like we're having a little problem with the video. I'll describe it. I come out, and there are literally fingerprints all over the side of my driver door. And there are fingerprints up on the roof of my Jeep, where it looked like something had a hand on here and a hand on here, and was looking at me in my driver's side window. I didn't want to wake up. If you've ever been down around Pineville, Missouri, if I'd have woke up, I'd have probably had a squatch in my face going, hey, you're not from around here, are you? But, okay. Okay. Well, at least you guys can kind of see what we initially found. Now, I've got a daughter who's studying crime scene investigations, and because of that, I thought through osmosis, I would have enough ability to pull a fingerprint. I gained a lot of new respect for law enforcement and my daughter that day because I managed to get a single partial print out of about 4 yards of tape. And, where's that picture at? Yeah, this is next on PowerPoint. But through all of the others, okay. Now this is the partial print that we pulled, and this came from the top of my Jeep. I've got the dime there for scale. How many of you guys are familiar with human fingerprints? We have rivers, we have pools, and everything else. If you notice, this print doesn't have that. You can tell where there's different sizes in the ridging, and there's other markers in it, but the ridging appears to go horizontal across the fingertip. Now I took this print to my daughter's CSI instructor, and he did some study on it, and what he came up with was similar to an orangutan. That was the closest match he could find in their case. So that area is now lovingly referred to as Scotty's Love Nest. I need to go back here one of these days and see that young lady again, I suppose, but we're trying to get a little bit more than a partial fingerprint on that one. So we're continually in the field. And while we were waiting to come together as a group here, we had an opportunity to kind of visit the woods at a couple other places. And Thursday morning, we were waiting on Medic Don and his wife to join us, and went to this absolutely beautiful spot in southwestern Missouri. And where one of our team members researches pretty regular, and seems to have a lot of activity around his truck, according to audio recordings. You can hear rocks pinging off of it, things like that. So one of our team members decided he would set up a camera in the area to try to view the area and see if he can see something around this truck. As we do this, do you see the gray vehicle on the right? Right here. I want you to pay attention to the window on this truck. Watch closely. Oh, that's the very, very beginning of the footage. Can you go forward? Okay, we've identified the anomaly. Okay, about 8 minutes and 21 seconds is where it happens on the tape. So, let's see where we're at here. Okay. We can watch right here. Watch that window. See motion, come out. See the truck shake, the camera move, and you can barely see whatever it is step back into the woods. Aaron, can you find that spot one more time? If you guys want to see this closer, we'll gladly show you. Do we know what it is for sure? No. It's bipedal. We were the only people in the woods and everybody's accounted for it. But you watch this. It steps out, moves the truck, and steps back into the brush. That's pure raw footage. We just picked that up 2 days ago. We haven't had a chance to get into it too deep. But pretty neat piece of film. I'm going to turn this back over to Don to close it, but we're pretty excited about that. And you know, you keep going, you keep trying different techniques to keep their interest, and every once in a while you get something cool like that.
And as Scotty said, we had that clip on a couple of laptops back there, and you can go over it during lunch. A couple things about it that made it compelling to me. None of them were wearing all black. They either had on blue jeans or khaki pants or a red hat or something of a different color. Whatever this is, in all black. He comes out, he walks alongside of the truck, and when he gets to the back of the door, it moves out, and he's looking to make sure the truck is empty, and goodness, man. This is in an area where vehicles get messed with quite a bit. We have rocks thrown at them, we find handprints on them. So, to me, it's very compelling. The fact that it's farm fresh, we just picked the day before yesterday. It's pretty exciting stuff. In case I didn't make it clear earlier, Bennett Springs, last weekend of April, that's an MAPRC expedition. It's also open to people who are not members. If it's an open area, we don't really own it. If you guys want to come down, I would suggest not to make reservations right away, because it is in a trout park and it fills up really fast. Yeah. And in Western Bennett, we do that every fall, but we haven't set concrete date for that yet. So if you guys have any questions about Missouri 8 project, please feel free to speak to any one of us, and we'll be more than happy to answer the questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Scott, Don. Do we want to go ahead and take lunch? It's almost 11:30. We've got 5 speakers this afternoon, and believe me, you're going to want to come back because these guys have great things to show you. We're going to go ahead and take an hour, at least an hour lunch break, let everybody get their feel and walk around.